Hi. This is my workspace right now. Tablet, laptop. Um, Here's what our place looks like at night. I love it here very, very much. um, this I turned into a GIF, but it's from an artist on Instagram and also everywhere else. Kevin Perry. He's an animator. He's awesome. This is from a very old Vine. He posted it earlier today. This one is 2024 05 06. I'm not me. And also I am, of course, I am Isaac and I am outside of Isaac. Maybe the single most helpful transition I've been through is this transconscious one, shifting the boundaries of the self that I consider to be associated with my consciousness. And in doing so, uh, I wrote this. I'm realizing that, like, as I'm verbalizing it, there's more to be said. So let me start that over. Maybe the single most helpful transition I've been through is this transconscious one, shifting the boundaries of the self that I consider to be associated with my consciousness. I'm drawing a line, a distinction between the identity of Isaac and the 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 boundaries that I put on my own awareness, like the process of me thinking and feeling and experiencing, really the process of me experiencing the quiet just awareness that is the process of seeing. That's what I'm talking about here, as distinct from Isaac, and this piece goes on to explore that. But that's I feel like I wanted to try and illustrate that more. It's the process of self-awareness, like the notion that I am aware, I am perceiving, the I there. That's what I'm referring to here, as distinct from the idea of, like, Isaac as a personality with an address and stuff like that. So onward. This is maybe the single most helpful transition I've been through, shifting the boundaries of the self that I consider to be associated with my consciousness. And in doing so, allowing my consciousness to exist with fuzzy borders, allowing it to seep into whatever spaces it will, and to sense and engage with other forms of consciousness, other selves of their own, I guess. Isaac continues to be a character, absolutely. My physical presence here, this is me. Like, my physical presence here has that name. Isaac's a gay autistic white dude. He's great. I love being him. It is weird. It is a weird as hell time to be a cis white he him founder and CEO. Yep. And the world needed another take on that particular configuration. I am one of those new takes. I was so careful. I was so careful for so long about how I presented myself. It was an impossible job. I still care so much about integrity of expression. It matters in a million ways, only some of which one can directly see. The ripple effects echo back, and I was so scared of sending out a ripple that would hurt me when I received its echo. It was an impossible job, as I said. We are always expressing, as long as we exist as these forms of density. As long as there's something to point at, there is expression. My attempt to hold my expression back was its own expression. We are each in our own front row, and as the primary experiencer of my own restriction, it was terrible. LOL. All the work that I put into trying not to hurt anyone was hurting me, and it hurt other people to see it happen. A dear, dear friend of mine, we were texting the other day, and he sent me this. He said, I hope you don't cry under the piano anymore. That hurt my heart. He was talking about years that we shared together, starting when I was in high school, going on to college, and after. And I got to tell him that I don't anymore. Not like that. Absolutely possible. probably inevitable that I will cry under a piano again, but it will be a passage, not a withdrawal and a restriction. It helps that I don't need Isaac's expression to be a complete picture of me. I can't put all of me into a single expression, not even a single human. Sometimes I feel bigger than a man, sometimes I feel smaller. The borders of my meanness hover near the borders of this man. We more or less line up, but it's more like a shadow. A human casts a shadow, and a shadow is a partial image of them, a silhouette of a certain angle made by certain light. You can get to know someone's shape by their shadow, sort of, but some things are impossible to know, and some things are massively misleading. A shadow can change completely, did not plan this, but here we are. A shadow can change completely with every shift of the angle and the light. That's a better example. There we go. The shadow of my hand on the table here changes very vividly. Actually, here, we can maybe use that. Whatever. Anyway, point is, the shape of a shadow varies a lot and gives you only a partial example of, or a partial understanding of the thing casting the shadow, which I go on to say here. A shadow can change completely with every shift of angle and light. My human body, even the identity of Isaac, is a shadow of me, my awareness, my self, my growing awareness of my own self-concept. My human body, even the identity of Isaac, is a shadow of me. Accurate, but incomplete, liable to change in any way, and each change will tell you something about the me that casts it, but you could spend forever watching the shadow and never complete the picture of the object that casts it. Hell, I can only see myself by reflection, and my observation of the reflection changes me. I will never know myself completely. Hi, I am the universe speaking. The single most helpful transition was out of penning my self-definition to my form and into completely dropping the notion of self-definition. There is no knowable definition of self. There are only useful models, and the most useful model label is in constant rotation. If I was writing this again, I would say hat. The most useful model, hat, is in constant rotation. Integrating that perspective is a transconscious move. By erasing the borders, we merge with what is higher, the level just above this one, and we move first, with what is nearby the point of convergence at that level. I could have said that better, but by erasing the borders, we merge with what is higher, the level just above this one. And as we merge first with what is nearby the point of emergence at that level. Since we're modeling this concept using time-based language, it's also useful to think about this in reverse. The truth is in both directions simultaneously, and holding the time-bound version together with its opposite is a good way to produce or provoke understanding of the truth, Cohen style. I started by saying that by integrating a perspective of transconsciousness, we rise to a higher level of consciousness, connecting first with what happens to be around, like climbing out of a manhole and shaking hands with the closest person or closest car, depending. But it's true the other way, too. I shook hands goodbye, or maybe got out of a car, and then stepped down the ladder into that manhole. It's true that I am transconsciously emerging at a higher level, merging with what's there, but it's equally true that I'm transconsciously descending down to this one, splitting away to do something smaller, something distinct enough to feel kind of separate. It's both. We're having a linear experience of time, but time is not directional. It's like how a river moves water in a mostly constant direction. You can tell someone which way the river's moving, but that doesn't mean water itself has an intrinsic direction. That's not a thing. Experience is like water. Time is like a river. Experience and consciousness are the same thing, for the record. I am well. I am insanely well from a human perspective. And I choose that word insanely very intentionally. I am insanely well. Here's the thing. Degrees of wellness or integration occur at every level. I'm transconsciously connected to a higher level that is experiencing its own varying degrees of wellness. relative to other areas of that level, the spots where I'm most focused on. Remember the point of emergence when we come out to this higher level. The spots where I'm most focused on could be doing really poorly relative to everything else that's around that level. Who knows? But that's not relevant at all here on this level, because that entire scale of wellness up there is miles better than the scale of wellness available here as a human person. My wellness, the wellness that I experience, isn't anchored and limited to my human self any longer. Unless you're looking at time in the other direction, in which case it looks like I'm hanging out here and I'm about to take a very deep plunge into some very cold water. Instead, the wellness I know and experience at this level has continuity with my wellness at the higher level and at levels higher than that. Higher and lower, these are really directions on a spectrum as opposed to distinct enumerable levels. But the point is that the wellness that I know and feel myself to have is broader than the wellness found in this specific individual human. And excitingly, me being aware of this helps the human form experience wellness. It's a very cool system of experience. This is good for now. This is an unending letter that I'm writing, notes to myself, some in a bottle for the ocean and some on a post-it note for my bathroom mirror. It will not and it cannot be complete, but I feel complete for now. Isaac.